I'm cleaning my house today, and I've talked a lot about how I clean my house, but I've never shown you how I clean my house just because I've never really thought about it before. But I saw that somebody did that, and it was such a great idea, and I've had several requests in the last few years, so I'm going to do that real quick. Basically, my house is I usually maintain things pretty orderly and tidy just because when I am in my house, I like to feel like everything's in place. It may not necessarily be spick and span and perfectly spotless, but at least it's orderly and organized. And I think that maintenance really helps you when you do need to clean, because you don't spend an hour tidying everything up before you then can actually get started on the cleaning. So what I do every single day, I'll show you right now, or not every day, every week. I dust every week, I clean my bathrooms every week, sometimes a little more if I need to, and I do my floors every week, but I usually dust, clean my kitchen and bathrooms one day, and then I do my floors another day. I'm just in a season of life where I can't clean the entire house in one day because I have little boys. So I've shown you how I make my all-purpose cleaner. It's the vinegar solution. So I get that out. I use that on pretty much every surface. I would feel better walking into somebody's house and smelling vinegar than if I walked into their house and smelled Lysol. Vinegar is just like a natural germ killer. I also use the generic Pine Sol, which I just love the smell, and I just pour it in the toilets because it smells good. And then I use rubbing alcohol for my glass instead of Windex. So I pull out all my cleaning stuff and my paper towels, and I usually start with the dusting. The way that my house is set up is my dining room, living room, my kitchen's behind me. I usually start in here. I'll start cleaning this surface, the kitchen table, as well as the chairs. These kinds of chairs get like crumbs and dust settle up in there. So I do those, and then this surface right here, that green thing, and then I just work my way around. I get this table, the mirror, the window sills on all three sides, the coffee table, side table, another windowsill, and then I get those shelves and the computer area, and that's it in here as far as dusting goes. And the beauty about dusting every week is that it's like not even dusty, so you can move super fast. There's not like really a bunch of getting in between crevices that have to be done, because if you maintain, then there's less to be done later. So that's these first two rooms. So this room's dusted. I will come back later for the windows and mirrors and just the glass fronts of the frames, which goes fast. And I usually don't do all the side windows. I'll just do like the middle ones, and I'll do all of them maybe once a month or something. But I always do the big one because the kids touch that one. Then after I move over into this area, this is like the spot that gathers clutter in my house. Like everybody puts everything there, and all the most random things end up in this basket. So sometimes I organize it. Most of the time I just don't care. But I'll dust that surface. I'm cooking right now, so I'm not going to clean my kitchen at the moment. When I'm done cooking and picking up, then I'll go ahead and dust all the surfaces, the stove, the side of the stove, and the fridge front, and that's pretty much it. And probably not today, but very often I'll get a wet rag and just make sure all my cabinets are clean and they don't have like dripping food or whatever, tea or something on them. I'll probably do that after I cook as well, to the bottom cabinets. So moving right along, I move down the hall, and all these frames and stuff, I do this maybe once a month. I'm not doing it today. I have company. I'm in a rush, so I'll do this later. I don't even think there's that much on it, and even if there is, I don't care. I'm not going to dust every crevice of my house every week. So I'm going to move into the bathrooms, and I'll do all this tile with my all-purpose cleaner and the toilets, and then the windowsills, and then I'll come back later when I do glass and do the mirrors, and then I'll come across the hall and get my boys this surface and these glass things, and then there's a mirror behind their door, and that's pretty much all I do in here. When I clean toilets, I always spray this part first, then I do this part, then I do the seat, then I do the bottom of the seat, then I do this. And I think that sequence prevents, like, if you start here, then you clean the dirtiest part of the toilet, and then you start cleaning the cleaner part of the toilet where you sit with like a really dirty towel. So I always do it the opposite, so that once you clean the dirtiest part, you can just throw this thing away. And I always do a splash of Pine Sol because I love the way it smells, and I'll come back later and scrub the inside. So now I'm moving along to this hall table where I'll clean this wood and all those little things, and then I'll come into my room, which is probably the most cluttery, and I'll tidy this up and tidy the dresser over there, the side table, and the jewelry stand, and dust all of that. Then I'll move into our bathroom. I love that I have this random lava lamp in my room. My husband is a property manager, and he finds cool stuff in some of the houses he's renovating sometimes, and he brings them home. So he brought this home for the kids. I've done our bathroom, and I'm going to start with this mirror and all the way backwards, the whole way I came. That mirror, then our bedroom mirror, then the hallway mirror, the kids' glass and mirror, the mirror in this bathroom, and then just all the way back to the living room. When I do these pictures, I would probably do it along the way, but I'm not today because I'm in a rush. And I'm also putting in new trash bags in the bathrooms. Happy and clean. I just realized I've been filming vertical the whole time. How annoying. It was just easier to carry the camera that way. Anyway, I'm back in the living room. Now I'm going to do those mirrors and the fronts of those big picture frames and the big window and that center window and that center window. I'm pretty much done with my fast surfaced weekly cleaning. Only things I have left to do is the kitchen after I'm done cleaning. Tomorrow I'll probably do the bathtubs, and I've already done the floors this week, so that's done. And I usually do more thorough dusting monthly versus weekly. I think one of the hardest things to get used to as a mom was not being able to clean your entire house from ceiling to floor every week. I used to do that, and it was really hard for me to realize I'm not going to be able to do that in just one day anymore. I have to break things up to function and to, you know, take care of other things and be with my kids. So now it's easy, but I remember it being like a big deal that I couldn't clean my floors the same day that I dusted, you know. So if you're in that position, don't worry. Everybody feels that way, and you'll get used to it. You'll even get more and more laid back as the years go by, because you just come to terms with the fact that it's impossible to have everything perfect all the time. That's not saying don't strive for tidiness and order, but when it isn't perfect, don't worry about it. You'll figure it out later. And there's going to come a time in life where it will be perfect all the time, and you don't want to waste these years making everything perfect. Enjoy these years instead. I hope this has been helpful, and what you guys were hoping that I would do. Have a great day.